This is the activated AF1. First and foremost, I want to say peace, power, and soul. And yeah, this video is going to be on soulful media versus social media. Soulful media versus social media. Soulful media versus soulful media. Okay, when you look at the word first, social media, being social, that's when you break down the word socialize. Because when you're being social, you're consuming truth and you're consuming lies. But the reason why they made it social lies because they want you to focus on the lies and not the truth. That's why they made it social lies. Because there's lies in social lies, but there's truth also. It's both. That's why when you're dealing with positive and negative energy, that is positive and negative energy is a roller coaster. It goes up and down. So when somebody says I had a positive day today, that means later on that when they say I had a positive day today, probably earlier in that week or in that month or whatever, they had a negative day. So how do you break that? How do you break the positive and negative roller coaster? You got to go through the breaker. You always have to go through the breaker. That's why when you plug up your computer, you got positive, you got negative, and then you have the breaker. The breaker is us, the Futuritarians. The breaker is us, the Futuritarians, because we're breaking the cycle. This cycle never worked for thousands of years. It never worked. And you wondering why we throwing out a life jacket for the ones to actually come over here and build, but sometimes people just let the life jacket go and they just sink. They just sink. But yeah, social media, breaking down the word. Because you break down the word, I ain't even Google this stuff. I just know it means something because I heard somebody say this way back. And social, I already broke down social, but I put in a socialize because that's what they want you to do, socialize. But then dealing with media. See, like when you're dealing with that actor Medea, who I forgot who's that, what's his name? Tyler Perry. He plays Medea. Medea. See, all this stuff is mental code systems. And because we don't really Google stuff unless it is dealing with people, places, and things. That's when we Google. We Google people, places, and things because that's what Google's here for. When you start to try to Google and get information, that's old. You can't Google Intel. Intel is just going to keep coming. It's not going to come to a computer. Like computers break down situations and they give a percentage on a situation that could happen. Like the moon, I'm gonna give you an example. The moon is allegedly getting farther and farther away from the Earth. So the computer will break that down and give a simulation on what could happen when the moon gets too far from the planet. See, that is dealing with information and artificial intelligence intel. See, when you come up with organic intel, see, I'm gonna break another thing down for you guys. Who do you think? Now, y'all can go do research on this because this is Neo. Who do you think got the news? If you're looking at the news, I'm not sure what news it is because I was at somebody's house. We don't watch the news. So I was at somebody's house and they were talking about Afghanistan on how they're getting everybody out of Afghanistan that is allies of the United States. And they kept saying, well, the intel that we got, the intel that this, the intel that, intel. And I'm sitting there watching this stuff because I already know we moving the planet forward. Y'all think we ain't. We actually are moving the planet forward because activation is not a joke. We activate minds. And the whole point I'm making is they wasn't even talking about intel on a consistent basis until I started talking about intel. And still, I started talking about intel on a consistent basis. And I just was watching the news and I'm like, man, he's saying intel on a consistent basis. I probably heard that. Okay, I watched probably 1 minute of the news. I heard the word intel at least 6 or 7, 8 times in 1 minute. And I'm like, okay, that's just confirmation. That's just confirmation. That's why our number is the 11, because the 11 is the top of the mind chain. And I was driving around today and I seen a sign It said parking $11. Why is it in parking $10? It's $11. We get that extra dollar really means something. Well, it does when you're dealing with currency. But I saw that for a reason, because then I received some more intel on some stuff we finna be selling in the future off that one sign. That one sign shot intel to my mind, and called the brother Sarayas and, chopped it up with him about that. And then, yeah, we moving forward, but dealing with social media versus soulful media. See, when you're on these social media platforms, they're always being controlled and manipulated by somebody who is at the top of the pinnacle of their career. They might be an executive or a manager. They're already being manipulized. Lies. That lies, manipulize, socialize. See, because a lot of these people that's digging for information, they're looking. You can't have lies without the truth. That's why I said the negative and the positive, the breaker. You can't have lies without the truth. In order for the lies to work, you got to put some truth with it, or the lies won't work, because people catch you in the lie, then they know that you're lying, unless you put a little truth to it. So then when you put truth to it, then they see like, okay, maybe he's telling the truth, because I understand that that is actually reality. So that's where you come with social lies. But one thing about social media is always not going to be there for the ones to move forward into the future. It's going to have to be the people. The people, and I said this in another video. I said you got the algorithms. You got the artificial algorithms, and then you got the people, which are the organic algorithms. And the people, the the ones that really click onto this, they're going to be the algorithms. They're the ones that's going to share the video. They're the ones that's going to be tapped in. They're the ones that's going to understand. Even if you're not a one, but you understand what I'm saying, sharing the video is critical, because then when you're dealing with the 13th dimension, pulling from the 14th dimension, when you actually put in work dealing with the futuritarians and ones out here that's actually hooking back up with the ones, then we're liable to bring you back in the future. People like, what? Like, yeah, because when you're dealing with the 13th dimension and the 14th dimension, those dimensions are like on superpower stuff. Superpower stuff. And I ain't did no video in a minute, no intel video, but I'm going to give y'all one today. Dealing with social lies, dealing with social media. Social media was always put here. It was put here for multiple things. One reason why social media came out is for the ones to connect back with the ones. Another reason why social media came out, because it serves multiple purposes. One of the other purposes was to keep everybody at, not everybody, but keep majority of the people, that when you're dealing with mental illness, a lot of people have mental illness. It goes from 1 to 6. And so the people that's at 3, 4, 5, and 6, they have to have a coping mechanism, because the sun rays are going to be beaming down on this planet, and then people have to have a coping mechanism, because you're seeing people. Now, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to all the subscribers, everybody. Y'all seeing this, because I see it every day. Road rage. Even if somebody doesn't hop out and bust your window with a baseball bat and pull out a gun and get super road rage, you still see it. You can feel the energy from these people. You feel it, because now they have to have a coping mechanism, which is social media, especially TikTok. When I broke down TikTok in my last video, that is a coping mechanism, because now they have something to cater to their insanity or their mental illness. A lot of people is on TikTok, and a lot of people are subscribing to TikTok every day, because they have to have that coping mechanism. You have to have other people on your mindset that you can subscribe to, that can cope you and pull you back down to reality. Social media. That's social media. Like I told y'all, these phones are 9.9 billion years old. And I'm just going by the 13 billion year old alleged time factor that these people say that we we've been in this universe. Well, not all of us, but I'm using this as an example because these cell phones is old. Now you got one brother. I'm subscribed to him. I know you guys know him. He's what's his name? Because these names just be deleting from my mind. Um, oh, Long Beach Griffin. Long Beach Griffin. He does comedy skits. And so, because I'm very picky when it comes to everything, even comedy. And out of some of his videos are actually really funny. But then I had put out a video talking about how cell phones and technology on this planet was at that time I said 9.5 billion years old, but it's like 9.9 billion years old. So we're moving in to another dimension. So, and it was so funny because a couple of months ago, he put a video out about how somebody coming back from the future talking to somebody in the present. And then he said in his comedy skit is actually pretty funny. He said in his comedy skit, he said, "What is that in your hand?" He was like, "That's a cell phone." He was like, "You still use cell phones? That shit old as hell. We ain't used cell phones for like millenniums or something," he was said, but it was so funny. That's how I knew he had watched my video. See, because when you activate it, the ones that's watching. That's why I'm subscribed to a lot of teachers, because I understand that they're watching these videos. They might not analyze them and scope them out, but they watch these videos. And when he had said that, because then I go through the dates. I go through the dates of when I dropped the video. Then I go to when he dropped the video. And then I'm like, what's the odds of him even thinking up something like that? Because he watched the video. Might be subscribed. I don't know. But definitely, definitely. And that's funny. See, okay, back to the topic, social media. Social media. Y'all go Google the origins of media. You know what's so funny? I haven't even Googled it. I never even Googled it. See, because we deal with Intel. We deal with Intel. Now going to the power of silence, because silence has power. When you give people your energy, they consume it and they feed off of that energy. Even when you don't want to give them your energy, sometimes they still want to do it because they know where the power is at. They know where the power is at. So that's why silence is sometimes powerful. And I'm not finna go into all that not snitching and all that stuff. We all see, the thing about a futuritarian, we always go past what the standard people are on, the frequency that they're on. We always go past that. The power of silence that I'm talking about is when you have. I'm gonna give you an example, and I've done this before. I've done this before in a relationship. I break down relationship. What does relationship mean? Read means doing something over and over and over and over. Lay is laying down with that person, even though you guys didn't come to a covenant or married. You're still laying with that person. You're having a physical encounter with them, also a mental encounter. And then the ship. What is the ship? The ship is to see if that ship sinks or if that ship keeps sailing. That's what relationship means. That's not in the dictionary. That's not off Google. Neo's back. So when you're dealing with power of silence, see, because sometimes saying nothing is worse than saying nothing is more power than saying something, because it's called the ping pong effect, back and forth. Actually, I made that up a long time ago. See, you're dealing with Neo, so I always come with stuff that's next that makes sense. The ping pong effect, because when you're dealing with Intel, when people take it, I'm like, right, it's not going. A lot of people that are listening that actually take my Intel and they actually do videos and stuff off of that. I'm thinking like long term. I'm thinking to myself like, okay, you can have that. That's nothing, because it's going to keep rolling in. Now, people that don't keep receiving Intel and they come with something next, they get mad because they're getting cut off because the frequency is going somewhere else. So they'll get mad. Us over here, we don't care. You know what I mean? Teachers and did videos off of my posts and videos off of my like the junk DNA, the activation. There's people doing videos off of. Ain't nobody was talking about that. I had one sister. She was talking about activating. I forgot. She was talking about activating um something dealing with spirituality. But that's the thing, because it's going to keep coming over here. The intel is going to keep coming over here. So that's why the power of silence is sometimes better than speaking, or better than being confrontational with somebody. Now back to my example with relationship. I was in a relationship with this woman, and once I stopped talking, or I would say one word, because it got to that point. It got to that point where I didn't even care no more. I had no concern with her. I was still around her, which was my fault. I was still around her, but when I was around her, she would ask me like, "So you want to go somewhere tonight?" Nah. Oh, okay. Well, you want me to cook you something? We got pizza coming. Oh, okay. Well, um, how about tomorrow? What do you do tomorrow? Work. See, that pisses people off more than anything. That one word or that silence. Because then they get frustrated and they're like, what the hell's going on? It's because silence is power also. See, when you're dealing with people that always got their name in their mouth, and then you already body them in the cyberverse, and then sometimes you just have to be silent and don't say nothing. Don't feed them no energy. They get nothing from here on out. All they're going to do is get these intel videos. And I ain't even put the serious intel videos I got, that's for the Futuritarians. See, because now I'm at the point where you got the serious ones, the medium ones, and then the small ones. And then you got the super serious ones. That's really for the Futuritarians. So yeah, the power of silence. The power of silence. Meditation. I did sun gazing for the first time about a month and a half ago. This is a true story. True story. The brothers, the Futuritarian brothers, they know what I'm talking about. I did sun gazing for the first time. I put my shades on and I sat down in a chair. The sun was beaming. It was so ironic because when I came out on the deck, the sun was literally right above my head. I don't even think it was an inch off at this particular point. I don't even think it was an inch off. It was literally above my head. I put my sunglasses on and I sat there and I looked at the sun. I went into paralysis. I couldn't move. I couldn't move for at least 20 to 25 minutes, maybe even more than that, stuck in paralysis. But then I was receiving. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. Because I hear people talk about sun gazing, but I'm like, man, I'm receiving intel. I'm Neo. I don't even need to do that. Why would I sun gaze for when I'm already connected to the upper dimensions? But I just did it. And you know why I did it was for experience. So I know what it felt like. So now I can actually comment on that. And I probably won't ever do that again. But that's the point that I'm making. Because for one, I was silent. Wasn't talking to nobody. Wasn't talking to nobody, especially somebody that's not worth the future. I was silent. Paralysis. And it was not a negative energy. It wasn't a positive energy. It was the breaker. I was breaking both energies and just moving forward. It's the activated AF1. We are the Futuritarians. First, I want to say peace, power, and soul. Shout out to Zareas and the brother Cosmos. We moving forward. If you got any questions, hit up the brother Zareas or hit up me, AF1, or you can. That's what AFONE, Futuritarian, and we're gonna keep moving forward. Peace, power, and soul.